been a joy to watch. It's strange to me. We've been laughing for a week about the fact that emotion and fun brought to baseball makes this tournament feel somehow, even to the players, this is so much better than repressed Major League Baseball. It's weird. I don't think I've seen a lot like it in my lifetime.
It's very Miami, is it not? Like, I'm so glad the games are down here. A game like the Dominican Republic and Venezuela, I would have typically covered, but my family was in town, and I brought my wife and kids to the game because I wanted them to understand, hey, baseball is different in other countries. And the winter ball vibe that exists where there is cheering all game long and where there are chants and where it's so much more like a college football atmosphere, it can exist in baseball. And it's just a matter sometimes, I think, of the fans seeing it and understanding that the behavior of fans at baseball games, which is polite, maybe, like I don't even know how to describe it, but
repressed.
Yeah, repressed is the right way. Actually, it doesn't need to be that way, and I think the players have started.
It started, though, with baseball in the 50s, people wearing fedoras and suits to the games. We only get so far from that.
Shane, welcome to the ballpark.
I actually still wear suits to the games, so I'm not the person to talk.
Man.
I meant the fans.
Bring it back, Jack.
I meant the fans. You'd have a stands filled with people in suits and fedoras.
Say now.
Imagine me going to a Marlins game in a suit. I kind of want to do that.
I can imagine it, actually.
100% need to do that now.
You should do it.
I want to do that this season. Just sit in section 17, row 12 in a suit.
People are going to be so confused. He's going to be empty. There's going to be nobody in the stand just looking at this weirdo in a suit.
Day game in June against the Orioles.
And a top hat, though, right? You got to go fully formal, right? You got to look like Mr. Peanut. Do you not? Passing. The World Baseball Classic, when it goes up against Steve Cohen saying, I don't want my reliever to miss the year, I don't like this thing. One business is coming up against the growth and the global growth of another business because baseball never gets to have this thing on its hands. Oh, look, here's a fun, exciting thing that in 5 years can become actually internationally phenomenal with half the televisions in Japan watching a game.
Tonight might be the most watched baseball game ever played. If you think about that, there are going to be more than 50% of TVs in Japan tuned in, and I think there's going to be a not insignificant number of American households that are watching.
The Last of Us.
I'm not going to sit here and say this is going to rate like an NFL game. It's not, but I really do think. And maybe I'm just in my little baseball bubble here. I really do think people are getting interested in this. And the game last night is a perfect example. Like, it was a truly great baseball game in March. You never see that. And this, to me, is a test of, okay, what is baseball's resonance? Because baseball's this sport that has gone from the national pastime to extremely local. Like, you root for your team more than you do consume the actual sport.
It's a regional sport. Baseball has
100%.
somehow squandered all of its national pastime, and it's a regional sport that exists for cable television dollars.
Yeah, and it got cable television dollars are going away. Like, the failure of the RSNs, more than half the teams in baseball now illustrate that. Major League Baseball, what it wants to do is get a national package together like the NFL has, and yet it's going to run up into the Yankees and the Red Sox, who own their own network, saying, we're not going to be a part of that. We're doing just fine by ourselves. And so there's a conflict in baseball. What does baseball want to be versus what is it capable of becoming? And I think an event like this, I wrote something that I think is going up on ESPN.com within the next hour. And it's okay to love the World Baseball Classic and Major League Baseball simultaneously. These are not two things that are competing with one another. They're two things that should be symbiotic. They should be feeding off of each other, because I know this, talking with Shohei Ohtani last night, after the most meaningful game he has played on American soil and seeing the utter joy in his face, like This is a guy who is normally just so, I mean, it's almost boring by design.
Jeff, he's a monster robot Babe Ruth who can
He's better than Babe Ruth.
he could reach America.
Wow, that's a hot
that as
take
Elmo,
right
please.
there. Yes.
Show how Tony is better than Babe Ruth.
Flip it.
I mean, I agree.
What?
And not only do I agree, I would say that what he is saying, to see personality, to reach across the bridge, the cultural bridge, the translations bridge, the language barrier, I was stunned to see him joyous. I'm like, oh, that's what that looks like.
He flexed.
He's human.
Like I've never seen him flex. Yeah, it was like the program went haywire when he hit that double.
That's what happens when you play for the Angels.
Mm-hmm. But, Jeff, what do you make of the timing of it? Because if I'm Steve Cohen, I'm not happy that I've lost my reliever to someone who's not paying my reliever.
But this is a regional game going up against the growing of a global game.
I'm all for the game. I'm not all for the game and playing this particular tournament right before the Major League Baseball season starts.
I'm just telling you, the part of it that's interesting to me is that Cohen is building a regional thing with the Mets that he's throwing a lot of money into, and this is where you grow the game globally, over here in this thing that he would object to.
Yeah, and I think if you play it in the middle of the summer, you do a NHL style All-Star or Olympics break rather. If you do that and he blows his knee out there, then you lose your closer halfway through the season. If you do it after the season and he blows out, then you're going to be missing him for half of next season.
More time to recover, though. If you do it after the season, more time to recover, and if he misses the first half of the next season, perhaps you could live with that, as opposed to what he's living with now, which is I'm out the entire season.
Yeah, and I totally see the argument there for that. The problem is the vast majority of players are going to have been off a month. And we saw this during COVID. If you take a month off,
right,
you have to re-ramp back up. And if you don't take a month off, that's more and more pitches that you're throwing, more and more stress and strain on your elbow and your shoulder, and more injury risk potentially. So there's no good answer for the timing of it. And I think what Major League Baseball and the organizers of the WBC have done is recognize that because there's no good answer, we're not going to change things from where it is right now. If there's an elegant solution to this, I'd love to hear it. I've just yet to at this point.
Jeff, you mentioned that MLB and the World Baseball Classic should be allies. It should be a symbiotic thing. But isn't there a chance for an adversarial relationship? And I'm imagining, because of the Edwin Diaz thing and Altuve, I'm imagining that some clubs may try to actively dissuade their star players from playing, perhaps even contractually moving forward.
Yeah, the contractual element's going to be tough just because I think after talking with dozens of players who have played in this and unanimously hearing how much they love it, the MLBPA would never sign off on that. But I think what I was talking about was more of a fan thing than an inside the game thing. It's the angry Mets fans who are saying this is just an exhibition and now we haven't won a championship in 35 years and you're telling me that our best closer or our best relief pitcher is going to be out for the year. Why? It's an exhibition, yes. Like if we're just factually stating what it is. But I tend to listen to players when it comes to competition and what excites them. And the way that players talk about the WBC is on the very same level that they do the World Series.
The part that's fascinating to me is Mets fans saying the players don't deserve that joy. I do. My shortstop shouldn't be out there enjoying that game that way when we're
they're being paid by the Mets, and part of that is part of the revenue is coming from them buying tickets.
But the racial undertones on this are fascinating. What a fan is
the selfish undertones.
What a fan feels entitled to from ball players that are telling you this is a joyous game. I enjoy playing it over here. You wouldn't have to pay me anything to play it over here. When I have to go play it for you corporate turds is when everything gets ruined.
I mean, this is like the purest form of baseball, isn't it? A couple of players over the last few days have been saying this reminds them of when they were back in high school. And almost all of these guys, the Americans especially, where the baseball system is such that if you are a great player in high school, you'll get chosen for a select team. And there'll be a group of guys from around the country who get together and try and figure out within a week of time, can we become a team? And can we figure it out? The Japanese team is fascinating because they went to the Olympics together. They play exhibitions together. They started their training camp on February 17th when the U.S. started on March 7th and played its first game on March 11th. Like, seeing the U.S. team become a team over the last 2 weeks has been such an edifying thing for them, because this is baseball. It has the business, but it feels like baseball without the business.
It's so cool. The idea that
the
Trout would be paid that way and enjoy this more.
Oh,
it's just absurd.
I mean, Mike Trout hasn't been to the playoffs since 2014, and so he feels like he's playing in meaningful games. And
well, how about you make the playoffs though?
A good point, as always, by Stugotz.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Hey guys, Kyle Brandt. You gonna shotgun a beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Showtime, buddy!
racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing.
Jeff Passan is a perfectionist. He's destroyed right now because he coughed into the mic. He owes us $6. He's a professional broadcaster.
Do we do Venmo on the show, or is it just cash?
You're going to have
We deal in cash.
Because
I
was going to say I feel like cash is a big thing in this show.
Venmo is a sponsor of Stat of the Day. They are a show sponsor. So
Would you take Venmo, Dan?
We're going to need a stat as Elmo. I think we're going to need a stat as Elmo so that Venmo can get its sponsorship dollars. I think we'll take it in sponsorship instead of $6 for our sponsor. $6 worth of, you can buy ESPN information guy Jeff Passan to give you a Venmo stat of the day in the Elmo voice. Do you have one off the top of your head? Do you feel like you have a stat of the day, or you look like you're ready to do this? I can give you the intro music so that we can do this correctly.
I would say let's do it.
I mean, Mike Scher's going to be very jealous.
Yes, and he's going to be mad as well.
All right, here we go.
Oh, top of your
Start
head.
of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
100.5. The average velocity on Roki Sasaki's fastball in the World Baseball Classic.
When did that happen? When did these creatures, 100 miles an hour average, that is not a human being. A human being couldn't do that a few years ago.
He's 21 years old, and his backstory is utterly fascinating. We were talking about long form journalism. That's the story that I want to write. Roki Sasaki.
I was just going to ask you, what one story above all others? Because you just had a Cuban player defect.
Yep.
There are any number of stories in this World Baseball Classic that have narratives. Randy Arozarena's story is crazy.
He is such a star. There are stars in baseball, and I want players to understand that they can be like Randy Arozarena. You can show your personality. You can cross your arms and just flex on the world. And it's okay. You can wear a sombrero and cowboy boots. You can sign autographs during a pitching change. Everything Randy Arozarena brought to the World Baseball Classic. Did you see his official mugshot? He's wearing sunglasses in it. It's just such a beautiful energy that he brings. And
he's so Cuban. God almighty. So Cuban.
I love it.
I mean,
yeah, Stugotz and I really can't.
Is there a correlation with him being comfortable doing that and Brian McCann no longer being in the game?
Brian McCann is on the Team USA bench.
Oh, really?
Is he making sure that not too much fun's being had? Hey, guys, watch it.
You know what? I'm going to ask him today about that, actually.
That's
this
his
is
job.
all a bit too much, isn't it? It's too noisy here,
Too much
Brian.
fun for you, huh?
Everybody's having too much fun. It needs to be more
Settle down,
repressed.
He has to hate
baseball.
this.
Yeah.
Why did he agree to take part in it?
The interesting part about that is we met Brian McCann in Tahoe, He's such a friendly guy.
Super dude.
He
So
doesn't
nice.
look like a guy that would be a
So
fun
nice. It is.
Put him on a diamond, though.
Yeah. Someone hits a home run, all of a sudden.
You know what, though? It's interesting because I think this is baseball culture where this whole generation of players grew up thinking that once you reached your mid-30s, you needed to be the hardo. Like, you needed to be the tough guy in the clubhouse. You needed to be that person. And I think that's starting to melt away. You don't see as much fun policing going on in baseball right now. I just think it's like baseball's in its teenage years where you have these expectations that society has set out for you. And then, you know what? One day you're like, fuck it. I'm going to dye my hair purple. And baseball is on its way to dyeing its hair purple. I'd love to see, because there are personalities in the sport. And there are people who I think that American fans can and should grow to love.
Legitimately shocked you just hit us with a fuck.
Yeah.
Did not have you as a fuck guy.
Oh, big time.
I think we were all stunned.
This guy fucks.
What about Elmo?
I want Dirty Elmo. I'm not kidding. I want, as a character, Elmo being, we've got to figure out, we've got to do this. Dirty, crass Elmo is a star.
We'll bleep it.
That's how it started. Like, that's how the Elmo voice started. Have I ever told you this?
Oh, no. This is going to be a great story.
You got really mad, and you're like, how do I channel this?
No, I was sitting in a parking lot at, I think it was after a Chiefs game, and I live in Kansas City, and we were stuck in traffic, and I was in the car. I'm not going to say how old my kids were at the time because I probably shouldn't have been doing this with young kids, but I wanted to make them laugh, and I don't know why, but I was like,
Elmo really needs to piss.
and every time it just got a little raunchier and raunchier. and by the end, it was...
They were scarred forever.
Yeah. I believe I was singing a song, and it was like...
Inappropriate Elmo took a shit on the bathroom floor.
He's like the Bob Saget of baseball information guys.
Stunning. It's a bit disorienting. I got to be honest. It's a bit confusing. I did not know that he worked blue. Can we please update a little more of our tournament, East, the East, because Stugotz, I'm hurt here by the 3 that we lost. This was a killer this weekend for us. But this advances. Tennessee advances, so that means this advances.
Dan Campbell looks like a retired professional wrestler, now running for office and running on a platform promising to body slam taxes.
That means the 5 seed, Duke, is gone. This is a good one.
Dana Holgerson looks like his kid better make varsity this year.
You like that?
He's that guy. That's what he looks like. Number 12, Oral Roberts.
Greg Popovich looks like the neighbor who won't ever talk to you, but you can see him watching you from his blinds.
There's a creep quotient there. And Louisiana, number 13, also gone.
Doc Rivers looked like he's annoyed his wife volunteered him for this.
Passon, you said you've got an article dropping on ESPN.com, and you are a long-form writer, as I've told the audience. It's not just that you're a great information guy, but you're a great journalist, great writer. Is it too self-involved to have the news that you break here before this drops on ESPN.com for Elmo to read us a paragraph of his story that will soon come out on ESPN.com? Because I imagine it sounds like you're waxing poetic, that you're going and grabbing Passon, the writer. Because it sounded before.
Yeah.
I want to make this clarification, incidentally, because Adam Schefter, we all love him around here.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that I didn't mean it as criticism when talking about Schefter, but I have been critical of Schefter. Schefter has had some journalistic breaches trying to keep this information stuff alive in a way that makes me uncomfortable to criticize because I like him so much.
You're a journalist. I'm not. I'm a fan. I just want his information. I don't care how I come about or he comes about his information. I want the info.
But all I want the audience to know is one of the many reasons I admire Passon is because he has not fallen on the wrong side of what some of those journalism breaches are. And it's hard not to, because the information business is tough And so he's doing the job in a way that's super clean, and it's hard to do it that clean. And that doesn't make it a disparagement of Schefter and Woj, because those are dirty games. But you don't hear certain stuff about passing that you hear about the other information guys.
It's because no one cares about me. It's okay.
You have in front of you this story, which is about the celebration of the World Baseball Classic.
I do. I assume I need to do this in Elmo, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to do it as Elmo.
Yeah. We don't want you just to read the article, you know?
But this is the part of you, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know what you're proudest of.
This. Absolutely. Like, when it comes down to it, I feel like I'll always be a writer.
I thought you meant Elmo.
Yeah.
That too.
Same.
Occasionally I'll go and listen back to the introduction of Elmo on this program, and in the moment I was so nervous, and I even said it on the air. I'm like, did I just screw up my career? And you were like, no, you did not.
Really?
Yes.
Nervous to show a personality.
I saw you that night on SportsCenter doing it with Scott Van Pelt. I did.
It wasn't nervous to show personality. I think it was nervous to be seen as frivolous, because this is such a serious job, and there's an archetype for it. And Adam and Adrian do it so well. They're so polished on television. They're so good with the information that the standard they set, it's like, how arrogant am I to think that I should do it any differently than like these pillars at the company? These people who have been doing it far longer than I have, far better than I have.
Yeah.
What impersonation would Woj do though? If he did?
I have no idea what Woj would do.
That's amazing though. I'm stunned to hear you say that. So you didn't believe that your character on television, polished information guy, was allowed to be funny?
It's not that I wasn't allowed to be. It's that maybe I didn't have the confidence to think that I would be the one to go and do it, or that I was the one worthy enough to go out there and try and break a mold that had been as successful for as long as it had. So maybe that says more about me than it does anything else.
It's an odd fear for you to have. Can we not agree on that? No?
I don't think it's an odd fear for him to have.
Would you imagine Tom Brokaw coming on the air and doing Elmo? That'd be very odd, wouldn't it?
Just being a human being.
Reasonable point, Witty.
You are making Jeff Passan Tom Brokaw, with all due respect to Jeff Passan.
But that's what Jeff wanted to. We wanted to be serious journalists.
I understand that, and I understand why Jeff would be nervous to do it originally, but
he didn't burst into the scene singing the song Elmo Takes a Shit on the Bathroom Floor. He was just doing a character. He wasn't working as Dirty Elmo.
It's all because my Sean Connery was so bad.
And it was. I remember that. It scarred me.
It was.
So you said I do. I see. So you offered us a different impersonation because the other one was bad.
Yes, and already, like you guys may not understand this because you do this every day, but when people come on your show, it can, unless they know you, it can be a very intimidating thing. You guys are clever. You guys are funny. You guys are intelligent.
Thank you.
You check. Well, not all you guys.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to run and avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two.
the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, need a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Showtime, buddy!
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but weddings.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now. One shot at whiskey, a go-go. There we go. Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, need a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now. Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
It's showtime, buddy.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops.
This man reminds me of a time, Stugotz. I am scared of this man. He was a menace, so strong, so physically strong. Other people were scared of this man, so skilled as well.
Yep.
Larry Johnson with us. A rare smile from Larry. I don't remember a lot of those.
And he looks fantastic.
Yes.
He looks like he can get like
Yes,
12 and 10
he
right
could.
now.
He could.
Yes,
Put it on the
yes.
poll, Juju, please. At Le Batard Show, he's shaking his head. In fact, I think you've underestimated him. Could Larry Johnson get you 15 and 12 right now if you put him in the league? Larry, but they've ruined basketball. They've ruined. They've ruined. It's no longer allowed to have someone like you in the middle of a great team. Thank you for being on with us. You're with us on behalf of DirecTV. Before we get started, what are you doing with them?
Well, this is my best time of the year, March Madness. So I'm happy to be here back in Las Vegas, partnering up with DirecTV for Business, Big Chicken, as you see behind me, and the Shaquille O'Neal Foundation. So, Shaq do a lot. He's a friend of mine. So we here. And at the end, we're also going to with DirecTV and Big Business and Big Chicken. We're going to donate. To Shaquille's foundation, make sure little big brother is taking care of everybody. So it's just a great time for me to be here in Las Vegas.
That's very nice of you, but I want to talk to you about how much you still hate the Heat.
Not as much anymore. Not as much now when we play. It had a fierce rivalry going, so we enjoyed it. You don't have them too many rivalries like this anymore, right?
Time heals, Dan.
I don't like that it heals. I want you to be mad at the Miami Heat forever. Like, why would you not be? Why did it heal? Tell us, what do you remember as the greatest of those stories?
Well, for one, I remember I went 3-4 against those guys. So, I think they beat me my first year in New York. But other than that, we won, I believe, 3 in a row and on their court. So I don't have too much to be mad at them about. You know what I mean? So, it was a great rivalry. Went from Jeff Van Gundy to Pat Riley, having the same system. I remember at one point, I was guarding Jamal Mashburn, and they called out a play. And I was running to Jamal's position before he got there because the plays was identical. Our fist up with their fist down. But, we knew them in and out, and they knew us so well that, it was just really man to man. It wasn't no trick plays, wasn't getting no trick baskets. I just remember it being all guts and glory.
Larry, you guys always wanted to fight, and Jeff Van Gundy was holding on to Alonzo Mourning's calf in one of the games on the court. Like, What are you talking about? Like, you're describing a different thing than what I saw. You people hated each other.
I am not. I'm describing the same thing you described. I'm just saucing it up a little better. You know what I mean?
No, you are.
No saucing it up. No, just get it.
No, what are you talking about? Like, you and Alonzo Mourning were going to kill each other.
At the time when we was 30-something years young, we had that taste of blood. Now, we got children going to school. Like, how you doing, Zoe? Everything good now? We good now.
Oh, man.
That's so disappointing.
You've ruined it.
It really is disappointing.
So disappointing. Come on, fellas.
No,
man.
Because you and Alonzo Mourning, I remember, I don't know what triggered it, right? Maybe it was just competitive fire, but I remember that there was nothing that felt like it in sports. The fight that you guys had, your coach was hanging from Mourning's ankle on the court. It was, and that was started because you and Alonzo hated each other.
Alonzo and I did not hate each other. We hated playing each other, playing against each other because he was going to throw elbows and I was going to throw elbows. People, when we go back to that, people try to say, and I went through this about 2 days ago, I was explaining this. People was trying to say Lonzo and I had a problem in Charlotte. At Charlotte, playing together, Alonzo and I never had a problem. And you talk to Alonzo, he'll tell you this. We never had a problem playing against when we was on the same team. I don't know why Charlotte decided to go different way and traded both of us. But Lonzo and I, we got along well. We played together well. I think we both had that competitive spirit that we didn't want to lose and we was going to do anything to win. Like you said, back in the 90s and 80s, back then, it was a little different game. So it was some elbows being thrown and he got heated and we just got into it. Luckily, no punches landed, so nobody got really, if he'd have hit me, I'd be pissed now to this day. So, that's why, it's probably easier to let the fight go.
Dan, I appreciate the effort. You can ask it again a different way if you want to, but he's let it go. The only person who hasn't let it go is you. I mean, we need to move on.
That's
you
fair.
and I, and I'm with you. But he's let it go.
You're right. Fair enough.
But how much did you hate the Heat?
Do you have anything? Does Larry have anywhere in his house anything from the Grandmama commercials? Is there a wig in one of the drawers?
Never. Come on now. Stop it. Look, they wouldn't have let me have anything. They kept everything. So. Nah, other than some posters, that's about it.
But that made you a lot of fame and money, did it not? I mean, people still talk to you about that ad campaign, correct?
Correct. At the time, I was a little hesitant to do it. Coming out of college, I wanted to be Larry Johnson. But the marketing guys at Converse, and that's who came up with it. They was just we was in it together, meaning they was just as young as I was. I was 21, and they just hired like 3 new marketing guys at Converse. They were 22, 21, and they had these ideas of doing something different than guy playing basketball, running and dunking. And I'm like, no, man, that's what we do. But luckily it worked out. I still get the praises from the Grandmama commercials to this day. Only time I've had a commercial on Super Bowl Sunday. Commercials on Super Bowl is real big. So Grandmama was there one time and she did well. So I have no beef with that with my Grandmama Dave.
Larry, you had a great NBA career, but I am wondering, is UNLV, the years you spent there with that team, that legendary team with Jerry Tarkanian, is that the best time of your life?
Absolutely. Like I say, I'm back here now, and I get these questions a lot, and I tell people the only championship I've ever won. I appreciate the compliments on my career, but I won 1 championship my whole life. I mean, and 2 if you want to count 8th grade. I won a championship in 8th grade in Dallas, Texas.
No one counts that one, Larry.
I mean, but he dominated 8th grade.
Larry, no one cares about that one, okay?
He does.
I know. We was a beast in 8th grade. What are you talking about?
Can you imagine Larry Johnson in 8th grade?
Larry, nobody. Oh my God.
Boy, 45 a game, man.
Larry, I know what I looked like in 8th grade when I was that age, and of course you scored 45 because you were
45 a game. I gave it to you.
All right. Fine, Larry. Fine. Yes, you would have given it to me in 8th grade, Larry. Fine. Fine, Larry.
No holds barred.
I give it to you good.
Other than that championship, the only championship I ever won in my career was at UNLV. So it was definitely the best time of my life as far as basketball career.
Larry, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it. It was good catching up with you, sir.
Hey, I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
He got me to thinking about something because when he started naming former Charlotte Hornets or Bobcats, I got to thinking of Michael Jordan's career because he's now selling to someone named Gabe Plotkin, and the precipitous name fall from you're owned by Michael Jordan to you're owned by Gabe Plotkin.
Might be an upgrade, though.
But it made me think about what a spectacular failure he was, that the only thing I associate with that franchise while he runs it is him. And it was just brand him, and he's going to get $1 billion, and he's going to win the game. But he was terrible.
Well, he wins every game.
Yeah, but he's terrible as an owner, like truly terrible. And it made me think the best player in the history of that franchise is blank.
Kemba Walker.
Woof.
Right?
It's Zoe, right?
It's Zoe, but he's associated with the Heat, right? So it's Jamal Mashburn.
Muggsy Bogues.
It's a long time ago, is my point. Nothing came through there, and the entire time. Jordan was the sucker at the table, but made all the money, cashes out, and will make all the money, will win that game. But good God, did that league run laps around him as an owner. Just terrible.
Yeah. It was as bad of an ownership tenure as you will have. And just from a results standpoint, I guess like the Donald Sterlings and Robert Sarvers of the world will like be beneath him. But
at least we weren't toxic is what is the banner they can hang.
But Charlotte is a growing city that should not be an anonymous franchise. And yet like word association, you say, name a bad team that's coming to your city on a Tuesday night. The Charlotte Hornets top that list. Oh, Charlotte's in town. Their word association bad, and it is the genius of ownership in sports, particularly American sports, that you can do that bad of a job and increase the value of your franchise by 2x, and cash out, make a huge amount of money, and go and do your next thing. But Michael Jordan was really bad at this, and it's kind of remarkable considering, like, you know, the MJ versus LeBron, the constant analysis of Michael Jordan, that it never gets discussed. That Michael Jordan is this bad at this.
Man, there are so many unbelievable things on his resume. Defying gravity is not at the top of it. Making bald cool is not at the top of it. Him being an unbelievably shitty owner and nobody caring, that's a magic trick.
Mecca Okafor is one of his best players.
Wow.
Top 10.
Do you think that Robert Sarver got out and Michael Jordan looked around at all the owners and go, Oh God, I'm the worst of them. I need to get out now. Did Robert Sarver selling the team precipitate Michael Jordan selling his team?
But if the game and
it's just James Dolan.
This is the thing though, Whittingham. And look, man, the commerce of this is interesting because I may sound like hugely overly judgmental when Passon is here and I'm talking about Schefter and Woj or journalism or whatever the principles are supposed to be. He told you flatly, and I can't reject it. Got to feed my family. Schefter, in the information business, you got to feed your family. Who cares about your fucking journalism principles, Le Batard? I got to feed my family. The game of winning at money, Jordan, Republicans buy shoes too, has played that one perfectly. Like, got all the sneaker money and now cashes out high. Like, if that's the game. But holy shit, the losing won't stain him at the end. Like, it's not just losing. It's management incompetence that cost him his friendship with Barkley because Barkley dared to say, hey, you kind of are shitty at some of the personnel stuff. You surrounded yourself with yes men. Cost him the friendship because Jordan didn't want somebody who wasn't a yes man. Still hasn't forgiven it because Jordan gets to be mythological Jordan, and it doesn't stick to him that team has been shitty for the entire time that he's owned it.
Right. It's somewhere in his obituary, though, right? I mean, it's somewhere.
No,
just own the team and
he owned the team
and won at
made,
the end.
He made 3 playoffs
No.
and never got out of the first round.
No, did he? Is that right?
Yes.
They didn't win a playoff series the entire time? I thought, Jamal Mashburn was before that.
They won't say Gerald Wallace was one of his best players?
No.
It's got to be somewhere, right?
He could
gotta
sky.
be somewhere.
He could sky.
He was good. Yeah.
Corner threes.
Yeah.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, need a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now. Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
It's showtime, buddy.
I don't even know, Stugotz. Honestly, I don't even know if you can call Michael Jordan a shitty owner if the only part of the transaction that matters is did you make money owning the franchise?
It's hard to say that in that regard, it's hard to say that he was a shitty owner. But I think Michael Jordan would tell you, like, hey, I thought I'd do better than what I've done.
They won 3 playoff games, 3. That Whittingham was just telling me. It was swept, and they won like 1 game in 3 different series. Or they won. The best they did was win 2 games in a series against the Heat.
I mean, he's such a competitor, and winning means so much to him. Do you think when Michael evaluates his own job as owner that he thinks he did a good job? Yes, financially, he thinks he did a good job. But as an owner, do you think Michael thinks he did a good job?
Let me ask you what I'm serious about this, okay? What is the measurement? Because I can't sit here and argue. You've heard me over many years argue about Roger Goodell doing shitty things. But I can't say that he's been anything other than good at his job if the math is make football owners a lot more money, get them a lot more power, take all the hits, and then make $500 million in your career because you're more than any player risking his body because you've helped or you've been at the helm and he's got all sorts of incentives as the business has blown up into the largest thing that we've ever seen. As football keeps growing and somehow they navigated the concussions and the bad press and the...
Dan, a player almost died on the field this past year.
But no matter what, Stugotz, even if he had died, the commerce of the sport is such that this man wins because the sport keeps being giant. And the game is make as much money as possible. That's the game that Jordan's playing in a room he's usually not let in unless you own a team.
Right.
He is giving up a powerful, powerful platform of power that he is selling, and he's selling high because that franchise isn't going to be worth more. It's a loser. It's a loser, but it's in a good market, and those franchises are worth a lot now because they're about to sign a new TV deal, and he can now retire. Michael Jordan, I don't know what the hell else he's going to do with his life after.
I mean, he could have retired a while ago, but to your point, yes, he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
He can retire from being a loser, like going to those games and even having to live in Charlotte. Michael Jordan's lived a rich, full life. He wants to be on a boat somewhere, resting, not losing, sitting courtside with those losers.
but he picked.
They're his losers.
Yeah, right, exactly. He picked every single one of them. And like that, to me, it's sort of another example in the long line of legendary players that don't kind of seem to be able to recognize what separates their ability from the ability of normal people or normal NBA athletes. Like Michael Jordan clearly doesn't know how to do player evaluation or management evaluation or draft evaluation. Like he did not put any of those bits of success into the team despite his overwhelming knowledge of basketball. In theory, Michael Jordan should be able to, better than any other NBA owner, know what it takes to win. And yet you can apply that to oneself, but you can't apply that to a collective organization.
No, but the way to win is be Michael Jordan. That's a good way to win.
Mm-hmm.
Also attract free agents, and that's the part, like, it didn't seem people were real excited to go play for Jordan.
I think that's where Michael probably is a bit disappointed in himself. Like, I thought me just being here would attract enough free agents for us to be really good.
Yeah, he also didn't hire people. He also didn't hire very good people. I think if you're Michael Jordan, here's how you measure an owner. How do the fans feel? What do they think about Michael Jordan as an owner? Were they real happy the last 10 years? No. They don't care. They don't care what the bottom line is and how much profit he made.
Stugotz, I'm not joking when I tell you whatever number of years that he owned this basketball team, the only thing that I remember about all of those games played is that all of his players said he was good in one-on-one and argued about whether or not they could beat him as he approached 60. Like it's all.
Maybe he selected players he knew he could beat one-on-one.
That's the problem.
But Dan, I think it's pretty clear now. I mean, we were joking back here. By that definition, Jeffrey Loria was a good owner of the Florida Marlins and the Miami Marlins. If the job is to increase the value of the team, there probably hasn't been a sports owner in 25 years where the owner of the value of the team has decreased. Right. Every single one of them increases it. Like, it's impossible not to. The model is such that every single team increases in value.
Right. The success is when you talk to Hornets fans or Bobcats fans, whatever the hell they are now.
Hornets.
You say, how'd this go? And if they're like, not well, he wasn't good, then it wasn't good. Like that, I don't care how much money he gets for the team. Like, was this successful? Did I feel good about my team while you were here? And I think the answer is no.
Yeah, but they could always say, but at least Michael Jordan owns the team. Now it's Plotkin.
To that point, you don't see a lot of articles, at least I don't, of fire him or sell the team. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people in Charlotte like, oh, get rid of the team. They seem to still.
Apathy.
It's Charlotte.
They seem to still like, hey, we got Jordan. Hey, he's our owner. He's Jordan.
They're so inconspicuous in the grand scheme of the NBA. It's like, who cares? It's Charlotte. Who's gonna sell? Like, why would he sell the team? For what reason?
Just money.
Just money.
And he doesn't have enough of that.
No, nearly enough.
But also to get away from those losers. He gets away from the
They're
stink with
his
$1
losers.
billion.
They're his losers.
I understand that they're his losers. Like,
Could he be moving on to another team? Like, I mean, who knows? He's got so much money that it's like,
why would he move to another team?
He's still going to own
He
a
wants
part
to
of this
win.
team, I think.
Mike Scherr is going to be with us in a moment to do stat of the day. But before we do that, let's update some tournament here. Stugotz, Michigan State has advanced. Tom Izzo has advanced through the wrong bracket that you have put him in. You had him, many people pointed out that you had him in the Cronin bracket.
Yeah, I do that occasionally just to make sure you're on your toes, you're paying attention, you guys are listening. No one corrected me. I mean, shame on you guys.
Yeah, that's probably fair to keep us on our toes. Michigan State has advanced. Thank you for the hard work you do, brother.
Kansas sucks.
Brother Teresa, you are a real hero. Always there for us to make sure, testing us, challenging us, making sure that we're on our game. Number 7, Michigan State is still in the tournament. That means this advances.
Brooks Koepka looked like the extent of his Spanish is me gusta chicas.
This means that number 2, Marquette, is out.
Jeff Passan looks like he wears a promise ring.
Number 10, USC is out.
Blake Griffin looked like the assistant manager who no one thinks is ready for this much responsibility.
And I was crushed when Vermont left the tournament.
James Franklin looks like the car salesman who, upon waking up each morning, brushes his goatee, polishes his head, and calmly whispers to himself, "Showtime," before heading to the dealership.
Mike Scherr is with us now. Before we update some more tournament, we were talking about Michael Jordan before you got here. What are we to do with his legacy in Charlotte here before we get to the stat of the day?
Oh, I thought you were talking about who was better, him or LeBron. I was ready to jump in.
It's Michael.
Yeah, but that's also another reason he's been a great owner for the last 12 years. We're still talking about that. ESPN, we've turned that into the content monster. God almighty. He wins at the end, does he not, Mike, even though his team stunk?
Well, I mean, he wins at the end because he's going to make $1 billion, but I think he damaged his legacy, if you want to get into the legacy game. Like, he's been a terrible owner. The team's been terrible. In fact, one of the 3 potential stats of the day I have today is about the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know. I have 3 stats. I don't know if you want to choose, you want to spin the wheel, what you want to do. But
bonus
I have 3
stats? Why do you have bonus stats?
I also have something for Mike, by the way, at the end. I have 5 San Diego State baseball players in honor of your stat of the day yesterday about Tony Gwynn being the all-time assist leader at San Diego State.
In basketball.
In basketball, I have the top 5 San Diego State baseball players that'll put a smile on your face. How about that?
That's exciting.
Fantastic. That sounds excellent. Can't wait.
What a day.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
It is brought to you by Venmo. It's your money, your move.
All right, what do you want? You want a stat related to the Charlotte Hornets? Do you want a stat related to Destiny Harden and the University of Miami? Or do you want a stat related to Steph Curry?
What is your
Tell
best
us, stat boy.
What is your best stats intern? I'm glad that you have a bonus today, but what do you feel like is the finest and the most impressive of the stats?
They're all good, Dan. They're all gold. I would say the funniest is Steph Curry The most relevant to what you're talking about is Michael Jordan, and the one that will get you the angriest is about the University of Miami.
Well, I want that one.
That was weird how he
I want
talked
that
slow at the beginning of that sentence and then fast at the
That's
end.
the one you want. Okay, let's go ahead. You want the one that'll make us angry, the one that's least interesting to the audience.
It's your choice. I'm leaving it up to you.
I want
I'm leaving it
funniest.
totally up
I
to
want
you.
funniest, but Cody hasn't said anything in a while, so I'll let him pick.
I want the angry one.
He picked
a poor choice.
Thank you. We'll see.
Congratulations to Destiny Harden and the University of Miami. He knocked off the number 1 seed, Indiana. They scored 29 points in the second half to come away with the win. Speaking of 29, the UConn women have been to 29 consecutive Sweet 16s.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
That is
I mean,
impressive.
yeah, no, it's very
pretty
impressive. But I mean, it's why the University of Miami making their first one in 31 years is, like pretty great.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Woody's getting defensive here.
I mean, I'm defending my own.
No, he's
mater.
right.
What do you
He's
want?
right. This is not a hurricane stat. This is a Yukon stat.
Greg Cody,
making me angry.
penalty box.
What?
It
wasn't my stat.
2 minutes for selecting the wrong stat.
It wasn't my stat.
You're
Get
bad
out of
at this.
here.
Get out of
Put Mike Schur in the penalty box.
No, I will not put Mike
amazing.
Schur in the penalty box. He gave you the choice. I gave you the choice. You haven't said anything in a while, and then you make a terrible choice.
I expected a Destiny Harden fact, not a Yukon fact.
Jack.
How about that?
Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Do you want the Steph Curry one?
No, I don't want anything more from you.
Really?
And even top 5 San Diego State baseball players, his name make you smile?
Aztecs. I mean,
That is fine. I don't think you should be rewarded with this little bonus, like giving him a treat for shitty
Well, I
work.
want it. I want Stugotz's
But
list.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Number 5.
Bobby Meacham.
I don't even remember Meacham.
He's cracking up.
I don't
Yankee.
remember. I know he was with the Yankees. I don't remember where he went to college. Number 4.
Aaron Harang.
A good name.
Oh,
Yeah, a good
fantastic.
name. Yeah.
Number
Number
4
He was a good
starter.
pitcher for the Reds.
Number 3.
Bud Black.
Number 2.
Al Newman. A twin.
Number 1.
Craig Nettles. Oh, that won't make my
Whoa.
smile. I forgot. Yes.
Nettles. Yeah.
You can check
Nice.
out
Aztecs.
the podcast with Mike Schur and Joe Posnanski where they open baseball cards. Thank you, Mike, for being on with us.
Anytime.
I'll spend all night out in Venice and make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Justin Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now.
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go. Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, need a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Greg Cody.
What was that noise?
And Stugotz. You should have seen the two of them. I mean, Whittingham is trying to get us started. We're coming back on live television, and Greg Cody has no idea where he is. And at this point in the show, we
literally looked like he woke him from a nap.
No, but that's what happened. No, what happened is he was deep in his computer. He hit his thermos, and he was talking. No, it's worse than me, because that's usually what it is. Let's talk about me. I love talking about me. That's
Someone
not what
tweeted
happened.
at me.
No. Stugotz lured him into his old man net talking about Al Newman having one career homer. Longing for the day of when a guy could have 500 at-bats and play in the major leagues with one homer. And then Greg Cody went on, I don't know where he went, but he was just lost in a childhood delight of looking up old players on the internet.
Al Newman had a season where he had 520 at-bats and no homers. And Greg and I were just talking about how much the game has changed. And I said, Greg, that was normal back then. Like a guy, they had traditional leadoff hitters back then, and I told him to look up Vince Coleman. What'd you find?
I wouldn't have believed it. Vince Coleman in 1986 had 600 at-bats even. 0 home runs. Never would have believed it. 107 stolen bases that year.
And so it was so exciting that he knocked over his thermos, forgot that we were doing something live.
That's what we heard at the beginning.
That was the rattle. But he was just lost in a childhood delight of looking at baseball cards, hypnotized by an old-timey leadoff man.
That's right. I was.
From a bygone age.
Vince Coleman was a great player.
You would have thought he would have stumbled into one home run, though. 600 at bats.
That's what I was thinking. Because other years he had 1, 2, but 0.
Now you're hooked, huh?
All I will tell you, I will tell you that they're just...
Ozzie Smith stumbled into a home run.
Vince Coleman, Stugotz, it's one of the great bits of journalism I've ever seen done in my life. Vince Coleman, for the Mets, lost a fly ball in the sun, and his sunglasses were on the cap. He wasn't, and to lose a game. And they had a picture of that. And then later that night, Vince Coleman in the club wearing sunglasses. It's just the New York Post.
That's why they get out of bed in the morning, the New York Post. I mean, that is flawless.
You can't do better than that. I wanted to ask the group something here, because, Stugotz, I legitimately think the stuff in sports media is interesting. No one finds journalists more interesting than journalists. And so when things are happening at ESPN, I'm just interested. They are the thing in sports that does best what we do. It's the household name unlike almost any other. And so when I read ESPN is such a money monster that Disney now is laying off people and there are no sacred cows, anybody can get laid off. I'm interested in that, but I really genuinely don't, when talking about ESPN, want to sound bitter, because I'm so grateful for what ESPN did for us. Mm-hmm. But everyone saw how we got sort of belched out the side door because they weren't supporting the thing that Jeff Passan wants to come and be around, because it's goofy and fun and you don't have to stand on a mark and people are allowed to have fun around sports. But I don't know how to talk about it I think it's interesting every time. Like, oh, wow, they're really going to layoffs here and no sacred cows. I don't believe that. They've decided.
There's no way.
There's got to be a couple cows that are sacred.
Well, Stephen A. Smith and the high salary guys, all the Joe Bucks. But when Chris Fowler looks at what Joe Buck is making and says, well, wait a minute. I've been here since Scholastic Sports America. I did a high school show for you guys, and I'm making $3 million a year. Why's Joe Buck get that much? And now they're being talked about it like he does Wimbledon. That's a hard one to do. And good God, is he prepared? Like Chris Fowler.
He's great.
He loves it.
Yes.
He is so good at that job. But if I'm at ESPN and I'm Chris Fowler and I'm making $3 million a year, and they're paying everyone else $17 million. The New York Post is reporting, well, they're offering him a small raise. I'm Chris Fowler. I'm looking around and saying, well, wait a minute. Why am I not one of your signature voices? I do all of your big
could be your
things.
cow.
Van Pelt is a sacred cow. All the information guys are sacred cows, correct?
I would say all the information guys, Schefter, Woj, Passon for sure. Kirchin is a sacred cow.
Greeny seems like a cow.
Greeny. They have like 4 or 5. That's the model. It's play-by-play, information, and 3 to 5 hosts who are going to host everything.
Herb Street.
Yep. I mean, he's an analyst, but he's safe.
But
yes.
I'm just saying, I told you a while ago that my agent told me, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, what they're going to do is get rid of the middle class. They're going to have like 10, 6 high-priced stars, and then everyone else is going to be disposable, and they're going to get rid of everybody who's in the middle there. And it's exactly what's happened.
It's where they're at, yes. I would imagine Reese Davis is one of those sacred cows, just guys who could host multiple events.
So if Chris Fowler is in a sacred cow, like just for longevity, expertise, it would be really wrong if he left there.
I think he is one of those guys. I do.
Well, but the New York Post is reporting, like, they're putting him as the centerpiece of this is where the conflict resides. A guy making $3 million a year who's looking at newcomers who are being paid $17 million a year to do less of a job, a more important job. But Joe Buck isn't being asked to do Wimbledon on the side. He's not being asked to fly to college football games throughout Saturdays and, like, work through the old ESPN ethos way of I will work my way up from high school sports America to the top job I can have at the company when I've been here all my life.
Is Joe Buck just doing Monday Night Football? Do we know if he's doing golf? Do we know if he's doing Major League Baseball? Do we know if he's doing any of that stuff? I don't know the answer.
I think he's got a production deal, and I think he did some side casts for the Masters and the PGA Championship. But his job, as far as I can tell, is to do Monday Night Football.
Right.
And the reason why it was so valuable is because of the race to not only for ESPN Disney to get a Super Bowl, which they needed to have a top-level team in order to convince the NFL that they merited a Super Bowl, but also because ESPN has tried any number of Monday Night Football variations that, in the eyes of the sports press, didn't work. And so they just bought a booth that they know worked, and that was the price for it. And everyone went nuts, but the NFL announcers profited more than anyone, and I'm not certain that those two markets are comparable.
I think they're just hoping, ESPN's hoping that Fowler realizes, okay, I get paid a lot to do this, and I want this job. So it's like there's some aspect of it of like, if you get too like, I know that it's bad business to be like, oh, I'm just going to be too scared to ask for more money, but he gets paid a lot of money to do a job that he seems like he loves a lot. So it's like if I start going in there, all of a sudden I'm gone from that job if I start demanding more money.
Well, you're gone without having had that job.
That's right.
You were the first round of these cuts.
That's right.
That's debatable.
Is it? You were the first round of people being fired.
It was around before
While
you.
we were at ESPN, there's been a lot of rounds of layoffs at ESPN.
Chris started the trend.
Yeah, I think Chris was like a 5th round cut. Yeah.
I'm asking the audience.
Almost made it.
And I'm asking the rest of you. Is this stuff interesting to others? Because it is interesting to me, the media jobs, media movements. There's a whole cottage industry of media reporters who get traffic because they report on these things. I don't know, though, as we sit here talking, do the people listening to this care that Disney and ESPN, monster moneymakers, would possibly get rid of Chris Fowler, who should be grateful that you're saying that he has a job that pays a lot of money, when Chris Fowler just saw somebody come into his company and get $14 more million a year who's never worked there. $14 more million a year. Why do you think they would be immune to the same things that athletes notice in locker rooms about this stuff? That not a lesser job, but a job that requires less and has given less to the company.
I'm certain Fowler notices it. I'm certain Fowler is not happy about it. But to Chris's point, there's a line a mile long of people waiting to replace Chris Fowler at ESPN, and same for Joe Buck, and would probably do it for less. And so I'm certain Fowler's upset about it. But you want to lose that platform? You want to lose that relevancy? because you being the voice and the face and everything of college football for ESPN has to have some value to you.
It's kind of like here too. I mean, we just signed Pablo Torre. I'm not going now, oh, Pablo just signed, I need more. Like, I'm happy to have this job. I get paid well. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's kind of similar to that. It's like, yeah, everyone wants more money, but is it practical? Is it deserved?
Oh, I just think the ego of the vanity business and television makes this inescapable. Like, there are two. You don't get into television because you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be famous. You don't want to be respected. You don't want to be paid. You don't want to cover whatever your insecurities are by being an important person on television.
But do you think if Chris Fowler left ESPN and went to, let's say, Fox and became their voice of college football, would he get something close to $17 million?
I'm just talking about the humanity of you're a lifetime employee. You came up. Like, he is one of the great success stories in the history of that company. He's been on television for them since he was almost a boy. He was like 19 years old or something.
Yep.
His whole career has been at that place. I don't know whether that place should value him monetarily in a way that gives him $17 million, but I'd guess that he thinks his employer cares about him.
I don't think big business cares. And I'm not sure America cares about whether Chris Fowler's being mistreated. Now, I think if
it's not mistreatment. I won't say mistreated. I'm
underpaid, whatever you want to say.
I'm just asking, what are you allowed to expect from your employer when a whole bunch of people are walking through the door? And now I'm talking about the business is cutting people. They are going. I don't know what that means. Do you guys know what it means? Is anyone that's going to be fired in the next couple of days going to be somebody that people listening to this care about?
I think if it's Stephen A. Smith, America goes,
it's not going to be Stephen A. Smith.
Well, no, but
it's not going to be.
Obviously,
but
I'm using that as an example. If it's much below the Stephen A. Smith level,
but that's the top level. There's
Fowler. Well, people care about Fowler.
You're saying they're NFL running
Debatable.
backs. Everyone else is disposable, is what you're saying. It's Van Pelt, it's Stephen A. Smith, and it's the broadcasters, and everyone else is disposable.
I'm saying if it's much below Stephen A. Smith, I don't think people pay attention.
Mina Kimes.
I would pay attention to that. I would think it would be terrible.
Well, that's below Stephen A. Smith.
Well, but in NFL circles, I think she's about as good as it gets.
I like this game though. Let's keep playing. Jason Fitz.
Yeah.
I'm just playing. I'm not saying I love Jason Fitz. I'm just
what
saying.
What are you doing
we're
to Fitzy,
man? We're playing the game. Would you react? I'm just asking Greg.
I just did.
No.
You knew the answer.
I love Jason Fitz.
I'm sure you do.
Good save.
Love that band he was in.
He just asked what band was he in?
I love Jason Fitz.
He had to save it. Yeah.
When we went up to Bristol, he's a really nice guy, Jason Fitz.
I would put him in my top 5 nicest people at ESPN. Seriously.
Genuinely excited to meet us. We were like,
go ahead
good
and
energy.
Put that list together. Let me see what you got.
Christine Lisi is up there.
The guy that was just here.
Jeff Passan is up there. Tim Kirchin is up there.
Oh, yeah. Kirchin.
That's 4.
Reese Davis.
Reese. Fantastic. And Linda Cohn. I mean, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Linda Cohn, yeah.
What's your list?
Your fingers are yellow.
So is Clooney's.
So are Clooney's.
Why? How many cigarettes are you smoking?
It's this yellow pad, this sticky pad.
Oh,
the yellow sticks to your fingers.
He's right about that. Yeah, excuses. Yeah.
fact that I'm not going to be around as much. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Is this, well, yes, I'm cool with it, but is this going to be something that is effective when? Like this?
I mean, my contract ended on Saturday, so.
Retro.
It seems like we have a hostage situation at this point.
Tony will have our list tomorrow. The Stony tomorrow.
I got it ready.
So you are not here tomorrow is the point. You are.
Yes.
This is you saying goodbye.
Not entirely, because
Sort of.
I mean,
Okay.
I will be sort of on call if you need me, but yeah, I'm not going to be around very much.
Okay, let's.
I also have a top 5 list that goes with this.
Okay.
Wow.
I like that.
Okay, just give me a second, all right?
Yep.
So we're going to go. We've got post game here. We are done with hour 2. Yes.
Yep.
And so we are done. Let me just give me a second. Okay.
I kind of have a funny way that we could get into this without getting into it. I don't know. Let me take a crack at starting here. If you don't like it, Whitty, we can.
Let's let Whitty.
No, go for it, Chris.
I'm not gonna reveal. I'm gonna just kind of set up big announcements. Just. I have a good feel for this. Let me cook.
Don't burn it.
When you guys make big announcements, are you one that just likes to rip the Band-Aid off or really just drag this out? Like, if you had something really important to say in this segment, would you just say it right now? Or would you, like, let's have a segment, have a little conversation, and then
What do you
build
mean
up
big
to it?
announcements? Like what kind of big announcements?
I don't know. I'm just saying if hypothetically someone wanted to announce something in here.
Announce like
Whitty,
what,
if you
though?
wanted to announce something, would you just, like, are you rip the Band-Aid off kind of guy?
I think I am. I don't like to drag things out.
Get right to the point.
Get right to the point.
But why are you guys talking about big announcements?